What's up, guys? MLS Aces Podcast, episode 232. This is your host, Tom Sweezy. This week, it's a very special conversation. Once again, I'm going to call every conversation special. And I realize as I've been listening back, I just say special to a lot of words and a lot of different things going on around U.S. soccer and MLS and everything. So I'm going to try to actively avoid using the word special. So it was a very insightful conversation that I am having this week with Michele Giannone. He is back for his second, cap. If you want to make soccer references here, but second visit on the podcast since we've done this new format of different guests every single week. I had to have Michele back on because one, Michele is awesome. Two, Michele gives great insight into the league and his thoughts and just kind of what's going on in general. And three, I had fun with him. I had a ton of fun chatting with him, so I had to bring him back for this conversation this week. We talk a lot about LAFC. Obviously, they've been in the news lately. I know everyone's probably sick and tired of hearing people talk about LAFC. I'm sorry, but they keep doing stuff, right? So had to bring them back up in conversation. The sale of Brian Rodriguez, the addition of Cristian Tello from La Liga, and then obviously just LAFC winning and them just keep on doing what they're doing, right? And kind of what the plan is for the future with this club, what the plan is for the future of this season, right? If we have everyone active and fully healthy, and there's a big ass game coming up, let's just say like an MLS Cup, who starts, who's Trundolo picking, right? It's difficult decisions that we kind of dive into here with Michele, and he gives, like I said, awesome insight because he obviously covers the team heavily, being based out in San Diego. So I'm not going to dive too deep into LAFC on this little intro because we definitely talk enough LAFC between me and Michele. But the other thing that we kind of dive into on is MVP candidates, MVP rankings. I think Michele and I have similar thoughts in that you don't just have to be a striker or a 10 to be an MVP candidate. Obviously, if you've been following along Michele on social media, you heard him on this podcast, you've heard him on multiple other platforms, podcasts, Twitter Spaces, wherever you've heard his voice, you know his favorite for MVP, or maybe at one point this season who his favorite was for MVP. I think there is a definite shout for that man. If you don't know, we'll definitely save that for the conversation again because I bring him up once again. But obviously, look, I think the natural conversation leads to a guy like Sebastian Driussi or Bibelo Reynoso, Hani Mukhtar, Lucho Acosta, right? Those are the studs this season. And I think especially with the success of Austin FC, Driussi makes the most sense. He's also the leading, the Golden Boot leader at this point of the season as well. So I'm going to assume he gets it, but I necessarily don't think he should. I have one guy who I pointed out, and Charlie Davies. I'm looking at you. I'm listening to you. Obviously, and I'm just kidding, everyone. But obviously, I'm a big Extra Time fan, Extra Time listener. The Major League Soccer kind of official podcast. I had a question answered on that podcast about why a certain player shouldn't be an MVP, or why I believe he should be MVP. And Charlie Davies may have laughed at my question. So Chuck D, Charlie Davies, I'm looking at you, and you know this is getting posted to social media. So I hope you see this. But dive into my conversation with Michele. We get into the reasons why I think that my dude, who currently is sitting fourth in MLS assists, fourth in MLS key passes, maybe he's a member of the best back line in Major League Soccer in history, maybe, and why he affects the game in all facets of the game. Why he maybe should be considered an MVP candidate. Just because he's not a striker, Chuck D. Just because he's not a striker doesn't mean he's not an MVP. Just my opinion. But I want to dive quickly into some of the MLS contenders. I'm going to avoid any conversation about LAFC. Like I said, Michele and I talk enough about LAFC, so I don't want to overcrowd everyone's senses of hating on this team even more. But obviously, LAFC and Austin, they played a game this past week where Austin just absolutely put the smackdown 4-1 at home against LAFC. Aruti had a brace, Druisi had a big goal. I think right now, again, he's sitting on 19 goals for the season, the Golden Boot leader in Major League Soccer. Diego Fagundes, a goal and 2 assists in this one as well. I mean, I think Austin I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago on this podcast that I was questionable if Austin could actually be an MLS Cup contender. Maybe I'm way too late to the party, and I'm sorry if I offended any Austin fans or any Austin people, players, whatever out there. I just really have my question marks around the team if they could show up big against the big team and do it in a big moment, and they did. So easily, Austin moves up into my MLS Cup contender category here with LAFC, with Philly, and maybe one other team that I'll talk about in 2 seconds. But Austin moves up. I think Aruti staying hot for an entire season. I think, or maybe not an entire season, but for a majority of the season helps. I think a lot of the pieces they're bringing in helps, and then obviously having an MVP candidate in Dreesy always helps you having a stellar season. So I think Austin, Wolf and the boys are getting the most out of everybody. I think Diego Fagundes is wildly being under talked about. Obviously, like I just mentioned before, he had a goal and 2 assists in this game against LAFC, but he's been wheeling dealing, whether he's been starting out on the wing, he's getting asked to play more central in the midfield. He's doing everything he can do to help this team win. And I truly think that's a big reason why they've had continued success and maybe won some games where last year they wouldn't even have come close to winning. So don't hate on Diego Fagundes, because this dude has been a key part to this Verde side. But good on them, big win, and now Austin, eyes are looking at you. You have technically a chance to overtake LAFC in the Western Conference. I don't think you do it, but you have a chance, and I think this is lining you guys up to have an MLS Cup playoff run, maybe a Western Conference final against LAFC, which will be an absolute that'll be an absolute game if we get to that point. The other team that I mentioned as MLS Cup contenders, the Philadelphia Union, doop, 6-0 win over the Colorado Rapids. And I mean, look, I know it was a red card, and I think like the 35th minute, 34th minute by Viacia, but you can't deny that Philly is just playing on an absolute different level. I know they've had their big wins against bad teams or red cards or teams out of form, whatever you want to say. All of that is true. But since July, this team has scored 35 goals. So for the month of July, and I guess July and August, this team has scored 35 goals in 11 games. This team has also only allowed 7 goals in those 11 games. They're playing high octane offense. They are playing extremely stout physical defense. Jim Curtin has these guys playing as the best team in Major League Soccer, and that is over LAFC, that is over everyone else. And they are going to easily take the Eastern Conference, and they are going to be pushing LAFC for Supporter Shield as well. I know I just said, Austin, you don't have a chance at taking over the West and winning Supporter Shield. I don't think you do. Philly has a legitimate shot at being Supporter Shield winners and taking home their second Supporter Shield in club history, and being MLS Cup champions. At the end of the day, they do with the mix of experience, youth, Jim Curtin, this rest of the coaching staff, the shot stopper extraordinaire in net in Andre Blake. Like, this team just has it all at every single level, depth. So I think Philly are extremely dangerous, and you gotta watch out for them. The last team that I want to quickly mention that I don't know if I can confidently put them in MLS Cup consideration at this point is CF Montreal. They are so close to me. They're maybe where Austin was a week or two ago for me. I can see it. I can see them making a deep run. I just don't have complete confidence that they will. Obviously, Georgie, being sold to the Eredivisie, but coming back on loan for the rest of the season is huge. He is your star. He is the dude that's going to make everything click. That's huge for them. Ramel Quioto has been hot, and if he can stay consistent and just keep scoring from now until the rest of the year, right? It helps, right? Having a striker that scores goals. But if he can be the dude who, when this team's back against the wall that you can just rely on Kyoto to be like, I'm going to go out and I'm going to get that game winner, then I think you're giving this team options, right? You're giving this team options with Georgie, with Kyoto, maybe with a guy like Ismail Kone, who we saw score a goal in their 2-0 win on the road against Chicago this week, right? You're giving this team options outside of just being a one-trick pony, and I think that's what Wilfried Nancy wants. And I think that's what we're seeing over the past few weeks from Montreal, and that's why I'm so on the fence about it. I think after this next 3-game stretch for Montreal, where they face the Red Bulls at home, they face Toronto, I think, away, and I think they face Columbus at home. That is a pretty tough 3-game stretch where you're playing teams that are a lock for the playoffs or fighting for their playoff lives with a ton of talent. I think you're going to get a legitimate understanding of what this Montreal team is. And after that point, I will make my determination of if I think CF Montreal are true MLS Cup contenders or they're phony MLS Cup contenders. I'm so on the fence about it right now. It hurts. It hurts. But enough rambling from me. Let's dive into my conversation with Michele Giannone. Like I said, we talk a lot of LAFC. That's why I didn't touch on him now. Talk a lot of MLS Cup MVPs, or sorry, not MLS Cup MVPs, just MLS MVPs. You'll see who my pick is or who I want my pick to be. But enjoy the conversation, guys. Please, if you don't already, subscribe on whatever podcast platform you're listening to. If you're watching this and prefer the podcast, we're on podcast platforms, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, wherever else you get your podcast. If you're listening to this and prefer to watch the show, don't really know why. It's just my face for a few minutes and then me and a guest. The guest's much better looking than me. Then you can go over to our YouTube, just search MLS Aces and subscribe to that as well. Make sure you like the videos. I love you if you do. If you don't, I still love you, just maybe, not as much. And enjoy the conversation, guys. I'll talk to you later. We are back with another episode of the MLS Aces Podcast. This is your host, Tom Sweezy, and I am joined by a familiar face here, familiar friend of the pod, MLS and USMNT reporter for TUDN and Univison, Michele Giannone. Michele, you're back. You're making your rounds, I see, around podcasts everywhere.
What's up, Tom? Good to be here. Yeah, man, it's busy and interesting days here on MLS, so... Yeah, I've been, you know how it is, on the grind.
Exactly.
How the kids say it, right?
Yeah, you got it. You nailed it right there. I mean, I don't even know anymore. I'm starting to feel old when I hear like people and young people say stuff, and I'm like, no idea what you're talking about. But
yeah, man, I hear you.
Well, first off, I wanted to ask you, how was the All-Star game? How was the All-Star experience? You made it onto extra time like 1,000 times, so shout out to you for that.
It was awesome, honestly, and weirdly enough, it was my first time on an MLS All-Star game.
Okay.
I don't know where I was the last few years. I think I was with the USMNT on a couple of those, but okay. I don't know if that makes sense because, yeah, I honestly don't remember. I travel so much, and I can promise you that people were asking, where were you last year? Because he was in LA, and I live in San Diego,
yeah.
and I'm covering the LA beat, and for my life, I cannot give you an answer. I don't remember where I was during MLS. I think I was covering Canelo fight, a boxing fight in Vegas, I think, but I don't remember. So, anyways, it was awesome, man, and having the extra time guys there was special. Yeah. Meeting the people in Minnesota was really cool. The Black Heart bar on Sunday night was super fun.
Yeah.
I think the tweaks that MLS did with the skill challenges, it made it super fast, super easy to comprehend. I think people follow it well enough.
Yeah.
And I had a great time. The players had an amazing time. You could see the difference between last 2021, where the event almost lasted, I think, over 2 hours, the skill challenges. And this one, it was like an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So the players were super engaged. I know for a fact they had fun. I was on the field interviewing them live as soon as they were finishing their challenges, before, during, after. And they were having fun. People were having fun. And then the game was great.
Yeah,
Both
it
teams,
was a fun game.
especially the Liga MX team, Diego Coca, they took it very seriously.
Yeah.
And I know people get tired of hearing this, but it's the Mexican team and Mexican fans and everyone. It's just sick of losing to the U.S. teams on CONCACAF this year. Seattle with the USMNT against Mexico for the last 2 years, with MLS winning everything. Lately, they've been playing. MLS has won the last the two All-Star games against the Liga MX. And we had ex-Mexican national team players, Luis Hernandez and Pavel Pardo, on a pregame show of the game. And they were like sick to their stomachs. They were like, I cannot believe we keep losing. Even this, like, it's embarrassing for Mexico. And it wasn't definitely a friendly. You could see it, the intensity of the game, how Diego Coca was managing. And it was super fun. I had the time of my life and super lucky and blessed to be there.
I mean, obviously, I think I don't think you are the perfect person to ask this question to, because you do see both sides of the El Tri fandom and the El Tri voices, and then the USMNT fandom, USMNT voices. To me, I feel like if we continue down this path of like every single competition that Major League Soccer is a part of outside of MLS league play is involving Liga MX, is it gonna get watered down at a certain point, or do you think that intensity is always going to be there?
I think it's going to be there. I actually was on a youth tournament this Saturday. This last Saturday was it was a different age tournament. Started at under 8 until under 17, and there were the academies of Galaxy, LAFC, and Real Salt Lake on the MLS side, and there was the Atlas and Santos on the Mexican side. And I spoke with the Santos coach. They ended up winning almost all the different age groups. And I was talking with the under 17, and he said, no, this is something that we teach at our academy. Like every time you play against anything US based related, it's all in. It's like this is competition. We gotta win. There are no friendlies against the United States. So it's been taught, and it's been, I mean, indoctrinated sounds like a bad word, but a harsh, extreme word. But yeah, and especially the last couple of years, and I think it's just gonna grow, because next year we have the Leagues Cup, that summer tournament, where it's everybody against everyone.
Major pause,
It's crazy. It's 48 teams. It's 38. No, what? I lost count. It's what was it? It's 28 on it's 29 on the MLS side and 18 on the Mexican side.
30.
37. No, 47.
There we go. There you
47.
go.
math is not our friend.
No,
47 teams is gonna be like a literally Club World Cup.
Yeah.
And like I said on the pregame show in Minnesota, the All-Star is going to change. We're not going to have MLS against Liga MX next year. That's a fact. So let's see what MLS does, but it's not going to involve Mexican side. So I think that gives even more importance and pressure to the Leagues Cup summer tournament. And especially at the beginning of the year, we have the CONCACAF Champions League back. Liga MX is going to want to win it again, take it back, and yeah. So let's see how. I think 2023 is just gonna keep rising in the rivalry.
I mean, that's kind of where I was going to, is about next year's All-Star game. Obviously, Don Garber alluded to it not being MLS versus Liga MX. I think, like you said, because of that Leagues Cup format, it being the grandest Leagues Cup we're going to see, I'm okay with it. I know Liga MX brings all the fans and brings a lot of hype and attitude to the game too, but I'm okay with it, especially if we're gonna get the big Leagues Cup window. Especially, I mean, I kind of wish next year was Liga MX too. I plan on going to it. East Coast hasn't been, the All-Star game hasn't been on the East Coast in a little bit, so I'm excited about it. So wish it was Liga MX for one more year, but it'll still be good. It'll still be good. Do you have a format that you prefer to see?
Yeah, I want to see East against West.
Yeah,
I think the league has grown enough. There's so much talent on each side, on each conference. Of course, you will have to limit the the numbers of players per team that they have to be a max, because if we had this format this year, it will be just LAFC against Philly or something like that, right? So I think you could limit that to like max 3 players or something like that. But I think we have so much talent and enough talent on both conferences to just have a great East against West team.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see. I don't want to see an MLS side playing against a European club.
Yeah.
They're in preseason. I don't want that. I don't like it. I've never liked it, and I just don't want to see it. I want to see East versus West.
I'm with you. I think it like you just said, I think it highlights the talent in the league. You kind of give an opportunity. Like I feel like every single year there's a growing list of like who all-star snubs are. And
right.
It's just, because there is so many teams, there is so much talent. So you kind of just let the talent shine a little bit. I didn't think about that, having like a team would have like 7 players on it. Like Philly would have probably honestly 7 or 8 players on an East versus West.
Right.
Maybe limited to 3. Every team has to have at least 1 all-star. Maybe, I don't know, we pulled the Major League Baseball rule there, but
right.
I like it. We'll see. But let's talk about one of those 2 teams you just mentioned before. Your favorite team to talk about, the only team you talk about, LAFC. I had to throw a little jab in there, but
I tweeted about Galaxy today, so that
So I just want to get a little bit of a sense of where LAFC is right now. Brian Rodriguez gone to Club America, correct? Not officially reported as of this point in time, but as of what you're hearing, he's officially gone to Club America, or he's gone to Club America, pretty much to make room for Cristian Tello.
Yeah. That's basically what's gonna happen. He should be in Mexico in the next, let's say, 24, 48 hours.
Okay.
And Cristian Tello is going to take his spot. He's going to take his actual like roster and regulation spot. So this is where MLS rules just throw some wrenches at you and to the fans and the league, right? Because the only way, because Brian Rodriguez has a DP spot. So and LAFC is out of TAM because they use it all between Chiellini and Bale.
Between everyone,
between everyone, yeah. So the only way to squeeze in Tello is making him a DP, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But he's gonna be just like the on the minimum DP range, so he can be bought down next year to TAM, because now they need that DP spot for
Bale.
For Gareth Bale.
Yeah.
So basically what's going to happen next year, and it's really easy to explain, but sometimes, these rules are so convoluted that even fans and even us, I'm always constantly texting Tom Bogert, like, okay, so what's happening now? Or Paul Tenorio, who is, I think Paul is the best journalist, and he knows the rule book. It's crazy how he can explain you the ins and outs. And so basically what's going to happen is very simple. Next year, they're just going to flip-flop spots. So Tello is going to be brought down to TAM, and Bale is going to take his DP spot. So next year, LAFC is going to end up with Bale, and Boanga as his 3 DP players. Chiellini and Chiellini and Tello will be the TAM players.
And then Arango will get bought down, or is he out of contract? I don't remember.
No, Arango's contract is crazy. He makes like 600,000. So
Why did I think he was in DP?
He's so cheap. No, he's not DP. The DPs are Brian Rodriguez, Vela, and Boanga. So now Tello's just going to take Brian's spot.
Maybe I just assumed he was a DP because he's an absolute stud of a striker, but that's insane. It gets
his contract is crazy. His contract is so cheap for the amount of goals that he contributes. So I mean, LAFC is going to have a difficult task to keep this same team, because we already know rumblings about Cifuentes in the Premier League, and he's going to be a starter for Ecuador in the World Cup, so that's just going to up his value,
up his price.
You got to do something with Arango. He needs a raise. Maybe you can take him like Max Tam or something, but then you'll have Tello and Chiellini. Maybe they sell Arango and they go for another cheap options. I just don't know. But what I do know is that they've done an incredible job right now, just bending the roster and the rules without breaking them. That I trust that they will keep most of the team, and if they lose some piece, they're immediately gonna replace them with another, even with more quality. When you see what has happened in the last 2 months, they went from Musovski, Tajuri Shradi, Brian Rodriguez, and Ginella to Boanga, Gareth Bale, Chiellini, Tello, and Sebastian Mendes. That's just the last 2 months. Which is it's absurd. It's incredible.
Don't forget,
I think this is the best summer. This is the best summer of any Major League Soccer front office ever.
It's
not
insane.
Even close.
It's
insane.
So I don't know how much, or you follow the NFL very closely. You're a Dolphins fan. Don't like that. So we'll talk about that later. But you know how like the deal in the NFL now is everyone's like kicking the money down the road, right? You can create these super teams in the NFL because you can kick the money down the road on the salary cap. Eventually, you have to pay it up, right? Everyone says that, but you can just kick it down the road. Is this almost the MLS equivalent of it, of like MLS teams maybe legally cheating and being able to do whatever that they can do in order to have these new super teams joining the league? I don't know. You get what I'm trying to say there?
Yeah, and I know, for example, that on the NFL you can turn like bonuses or some type of payment to like signing bonus.
Yeah.
Just upload, just do like a cash straight up
pretty much
payment. That doesn't exist on Major League Soccer. I mean, obviously, there's some kind of agreement. For example, on the Gareth Bale thing, you know, like, I mean, he went from making over $30 million or Real Madrid, and out of nowhere, he just came down to $1.56 million as a stamp player. So I don't know. I'm not saying they did nothing wrong. But I'm pretty sure there's, for example, there's a clause that next year he's gonna be a DP player. We don't know how much his salary is gonna spike next year, because when you're a DP, maybe he's gonna get paid. I don't know. Insigne gets paid almost $15 million per Toronto. So maybe Bale's gonna get something like that, and they are rearrange something. Maybe they're gonna part of what he's missing this year, they're just gonna backload it for the next couple of years. I don't know. I'm pretty sure there are ways to do that, and I'm pretty sure that's part of the agreement to accept him being a TAM player. Or maybe it's just simple the fact that he's made so much money during his career, like over easy, I will say easy, over $200-300 million. And he just said, you know what? I'm just gonna go to play, have fun in LA for the next few months.
Golf a little bit.
Golf a little bit. I'm just gonna help the team, squeeze me in the roster, and then we'll figure out next year. I'm guessing those things happen, and that's where, I'm sorry, but that's where LA, Miami have the upper hand against the rest of the league. Because players want to live in LA, players want to live in Miami,
New York.
Players don't. If you like LA,
Cincinnati,
Columbus. Columbus. It's nothing against those teams, but I'm not a millionaire, so I don't. I don't know the way they think, but I know for a fact, because that's something they tell you. If you get me the option of living in LA against Cincinnati for less money, I'm gonna pick LA.
100%. Especially when you've made the money in the past.
Exactly, when you don't need it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, and that's what I'm sorry. It's a fan base gets, but you see it on the NFL, on the NBA, you know? Like LeBron didn't go play in Detroit. He chose LA. Why? Because Los Angeles gave him other opportunities, business opportunities,
Yeah.
in film, in production, what we're seeing right now. And maybe MLS teams, maybe Gareth Bale thinks like that. Say, you know what? After this, I'm just going to stay living in LA and
Be in a
go
movie or two.
be in a movie. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's insane, right? Because like, I mean, LeBron's the example, right? He went from Cleveland, Ohio, to Miami, Florida, to Los Angeles, California. You know, like he left Cleveland to go to the fun, popular, young
Right.
cities where he's going to make connections and all that. It's so true. And yeah, like it sucks. Sorry to, you know, you can list off 20 plus teams probably in Major League Soccer where just the city you're living in isn't going to be as attractive as 6 teams or 6 cities.
Right.
And it sucks. And it's funny that we're talking about this because a few weeks ago I had Sam Stachel on the podcast. We were chatting about how you can legally break the rules in Major League Soccer to get guys to come to your rosters. Zlatan Ibrahimovic is a classic example of it. David Beckham's a classic example of it. Now LAFC is just doing it. They did it all in 1 or 2 windows, and they're doing it better than everyone else in the league. So it's like they're not cheating. They're just using certain things to their advantages. And, you know, you don't know what other deals, like you said, Gareth Bale may be getting on the side, whether it's sponsorship money or whether it's something promised in the future, whatever it may be. It's
let's say, let me give you a scenario, right? You're Gareth Bale, right? Let's just put Gareth Bale because it's the big name before we're talking. One of the minority owners at the LAFC is Will Ferrell, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing the MLS can do.
Yeah.
If Will Ferrell tells Gareth Bale, if you come to LA, I'm gonna put you in a couple of my movies, and you're gonna make $20 million appearing in a couple of movies, and be done with it. Like that's not cheating. That's just the advantage that LA has
of having Will Ferrell in an ownership position, being in LA.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. So that's I'm sorry, but that's the reality, and it's not cheating. MLS cannot do anything about it.
No,
because it's not illegal. It doesn't go against the rules, and that's the way it works. You know,
it's very true. I mean, look, we could go back.
And I'm not saying that's happening.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that's happening. I'm just giving a hypothetical. Yeah. I'm just saying a hypothetical, right?
Yes, no, for sure. And look, it's all true. It's all possible. Sam Stachel said the same thing. Like David Beckham came over here and got promised a team. You know, like at the end of the day, like you can't go bigger than that as far as bending the MLS rules a little bit. But last thing about LAFC, we just talked about the plethora of attackers that they have. If you had to MLS Cups today or tomorrow, you had to pick a starting front 3. Who are you lining up in a front 3 out of all of this talent? I'll go first if you want. I said Bouanga, Arango, Vela. That was my front 3. And then I think Bale's like the first dude off the bench, if you ask me.
Okay. So you're asking me if MLS Cup is tonight?
Yes.
Right? And we're taking the players as they are right now, or we suppose that everybody's fit and 100%? Because Bale is not 100%. He's on preseason form.
I'm assuming that everyone is relatively fit.
Wow. I'm gonna say let's take the team how it is right now.
Yeah.
If MLS Cup, let's say Friday, instead of playing Austin, they're playing the MLS Cup, right?
Yeah.
So, well, that doesn't work because Bouanga is not here. But okay, let's say it's completely fit. I will say, man, it's tough.
I was thinking about this before. It's
tough because I do believe that the one that is gonna start losing minutes, as crazy as it sounds, is gonna be Arango.
Yeah, probably.
So I think I would have to go with Bouanga, Vela, and Bale.
Yeah, I mean, I can see it. And then
this is something that Cherondolo has mentioned that because I asked him directly, like, hey, Arango is the only natural number 9 that you have. And he said, well, that's why we're targeting players like Bouanga that can play the number 9 also. Bale can be a false nine. Carlos Vela can play as a nine. So that's why I fear that Arango is going to start losing minutes. And I think if we're talking about MLS Cup right now, I think will be Buanga, Bale, and Vela in the 9 position. Yeah.
I mean, look, a lot of time can happen. Injuries pop up. I do not wish injury upon anyone, but they pop up, unfortunately. It is what it is.
And by the way, I know we're LAFC fatigue, and people are tired of hearing it, but
we're talking about him for a reason.
Buanga, man, this guy is gonna tear up the league. It's a major upgrade over Brian Rodriguez. Not even on the same galaxy, and this is gonna be scary for the rest of the team when the playoffs come.
Well, let's speak of the galaxy. I like the wording you just used right there.
Right. I didn't notice.
The LA Galaxy. You did say you tweeted about another team today, and it was the other team in Los Angeles. LA Galaxy signed Martin Caceres, the longtime Uruguayan national team defender. The dude can play center back, right back. I'm assuming he's going to play center back for this team for the most part. But what are your takes? What are your thoughts on Caceres?
He played at Lazio. That's my soccer love.
Okay.
Lazio.
Love it.
On the Serie A. He played there for a season, so I kind of know him. I think it's a great signing, given what Galaxy has. I think right now, if you plug him in, he's very physical. He's fast. Obviously, I think he's 34 years old or something. Somewhere
35.
Before 35. Okay, so he's not as fast as he used to be, but he's still, I think, an upgrade of what the Galaxy has on the center backs. Without disrespectful, I think he could plug. Vanney can plug him right now, and he will be an upgrade of what they've been. Even though the Galaxy has been so much better defensively, what they've been.
Give them their credit.
The last few years, the problem is up top right now, on the wings especially. So he can play right back, like you mentioned. He has experience playing on a regular 4-man backline, on a 3-man backline.
Yeah.
He's gonna be with Uruguay in the World Cup, so that brings another experience. He has played World Cups before with Uruguay. He has played Copa Americas. He has. I think he played. If he played also in Fiorentina, in Italy, he played at Lazio. He played at Verona. So he has big club experience too.
Yeah. Juventus, Barcelona, right?
Barcelona.
Crazy.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
So I think it's a home run. I think it's a home run signing for what the Galaxy needs right now, which is more stability in the backline.
Yeah.
And I really, really like it. I really do.
I mean, that's kind of, I said something similar to the extent of, I think he's a major upgrade at center back than every other center back on this roster, and it's not taking a shot. It's just he is a very good player even at his older age. I think more than anything else, though, I think he's going to bring a sense of leadership and experience that outside of Chicharito really isn't on this roster at all. Maybe a few other guys, but no one to I think the extent of a Caceres or a Chicharito. So I really like it. I would like to see them possibly maybe mess around with the back 3 or back 5, whatever you want to call it, with 3 center backs.
I don't understand for my life how Vanney hasn't even tried.
Yeah.
I think this team is made, especially now with Cáceres, tailor-made to play at 3-5-2. So that opens up playing Chicharito with Joveljic together. Now you have the double pivot or the triangle in the midfield with Brookman, Markey, and Ricky Puig.
Yeah.
And then you have Edwards as a wingback on the left and Araujo as a wingback on the right.
Yeah.
That's your starting 11. And in the back you have Koulibaly, Zabaleta, now Cáceres, I'm forgetting the Williams.
Derek Williams, yeah.
Derek Williams. So you have 4 center backs right there to play around. I wish that he tried that, especially to have Joveljic on the field.
Yeah.
Because it's just painful watch him on the bench.
It's like he's so good. He's so good.
But talking with Vanney, honestly, he's still fixated with the 4-3-3
Yeah.
or the 4-2-3-1
Mm-hmm.
or so when still with those formations, and this is my main issue, you still depend of what your wingers are doing. And Douglas Costa has been a massive bust. Kevin Carral has been a massive bust. So are you still do you still prefer to count on them than to try something different, especially to put Jovelic and Chicharito on the field at the same time?
Yeah.
I don't get it. But he's been firm about it. I don't think he's gonna change. So I don't know anymore.
I mean, look, it's insane to me because, like, you know, Vanny is such a highly touted coach in this league by media, by players, even by other coaches. Like, he's won it, he's done it all, right? Like, and you could just see, like, the players who are producing, you have on the bench. The players who are not producing, you're trying to jam a square peg into a round hole, and it's just like it's not working. So you have to adapt if you want to change the Galaxy's playoff luck of recent years and get back in.
Players love Vanny, and I think he's done a great job. I honestly do. Like, he's done miracles with this roster, especially pre-All-Star game, before getting Puig, before getting now Cáceres. He's been doing miracles, I believe. And for example, I spoke with Paul Arriola on December. He was still on DC. And he mentioned that Galaxy had approached DC, and he said, yeah, one of the coaches that I want to work with in the future, if I can, is Greg Vanny. And Ilie Sanchez also told me this before signing with the LAFC this offseason. He was very close to signing with the LA Galaxy.
Yeah,
and he mentioned that the only regret that he has potentially seeing that in the future is that he really wanted to work with Greg Vanny. So that speaks volume of how he's viewed in the league. He's definitely, I think, a top 5, top 10 coach in the league, hands down. So yeah, but I just think he's been a little bit stubborn, still trying to, like you say, trying to squeeze in Costa and Cabral.
Yeah,
when they're not working.
Yeah, like, just eliminate the wingers. It makes zero sense. And I hope you also know that when I saw you put out the news of Arriola and Ilie, and you just stabbed right into the heart of Galaxy fans when you put that out. I hope you know that, because they could use a Paul Arriola and an Ilie Sanchez this year.
When Ilie told me that, I was like, what? Because we're having a conversation, a casual conversation. I was on the LAFC training ground, and when you go there, when it's media day, you watch like the last minute of training, and then right in front of the field, there's like a canopy area, like a patio area.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that in a few videos.
So where we do, that's where they do their media availability, their live press conference there. So we're just hanging out there, and training finished, and the players, the ones that are supposed to talk, come. So that day, Ilie was talking, and then after that, he was the last one, and then we continued to chat, like off camera, of anything, and we're just talking about Galaxy, and or the state of the league in general. And I was telling him, like, I was telling him about, no, I have a Galaxy broadcast next week or something, blah, blah, blah. And he said, and he just casually dropped, like, yeah, I almost signed with them in the offseason. I was like, what?
You're like, can I say this?
And he's like, what's happening now? And then I did a feature with him.
Yeah.
Pre All-Star game that I tweeted some clips out, and then I told him, I'm just gonna ask this on camera, right? And he said, yeah, no problem. We can talk about it.
It's fine.
Yeah. So yeah, it was fun. He's a great guy.
Well, let's stick with Ilie. Obviously, up until this past week, I've really seen him on top of your MVP leaderboard charts here. And this past week, like you do most weeks or every week that I've seen.
Most weeks.
Yeah, you drop your MVP power rankings. You have Druisi, Reynoso, Hani Mukhtar, Ilie Sanchez, Romel Quioto, and you had a few other guys on the outside. Why is Ilie falling so much, or is it just the pack is rising?
I don't think he's falling down. I think that the other three are just skyrocketing. and I'm losing the fight. He's still on the MLS best 11 for me, and I have a vote to all the awards. So
nice, look at you, love it.
I voted for Mukhtar last year, by the way. I'm still dying on that hill that Mukhtar should have been the 2021 MVP.
I was
MLS MVP.
Guy. I was a Mukhtar guy.
So yeah, I think right now Driussi, you can put also Lucho Acosta there. I have him just in the outside because at the end I think we have to mix what teams do, right? That's why Carles Gil, I think he won the award over Mukhtar because people went crazy with the points record.
Yeah.
So, but Cincinnati's out of the playoffs right now, if I'm not mistaken. They're just out of the. I gotta check the standings, but I think it's Miami holding that, and then Cincy is just right outside, right? So when you take what Driussi is doing, like leading the Golden Boot race without being a striker, which is absolutely crazy, and what Mukhtar has done, without Mukhtar, Nashville will be probably dead last. Like it will be another DC United.
Exactly.
And man, I really like Minnesota.
They're very good.
I think Minnesota is peaking at the right time, and I will be scared to play them in the playoffs. And if they can secure a spot in the top 4 of the conference, that I think that they will, and having those first 2 games at home in the playoffs. And Minnesota, it's a scary place to play for a visiting team. It's a great atmosphere.
When you start getting cold too in the colder seasons.
I'm gonna be Minnesota. Actually, that's our broadcast this weekend. Minnesota, Houston on TUDN Univison on Saturday. So I'm back to Minnesota. The next two weekends, I'm back to Minnesota. Then next weekend, I have Minnesota something else. I don't remember. In the next Saturday. So another time to visit Talisman. Go visit Talisman.
There you go. I'm so dying to when I want to get out there, mainly for going into Talisman.
This is not an ad. This is not sponsored.
No.
I really just pay them a visit, buy them online. It's if you're a fan of soccer, and soccer in the US, this store is like entering Disneyland. It's insane. It's crazy what they do.
I love their stuff.
Great people. Great people. So going back to that, and I do think it's Driussi right now, but I don't think it's by the wide margin that people think. We still have 2 months to go, right? And Reynoso is balling out of his mind. Mukhtar is balling out of his mind. But I think the ultimate tiebreaker would be if Driussi secures the Golden Boot. That's done.
Yeah.
I mean, if Austin gets that top 4 in the West and Driussi gets the Golden Boot, done.
It's his.
It's his. If Minnesota can end up ahead of Austin, then we could have a case for Reynoso. Or if Cincinnati gets in, we could have a case for Lucho Acosta. But then with Cincinnati, you also have Brandon Vasquez.
Yeah.
And you also have Brenner, right?
I don't buy into the notion of like just because there's like 2 stars on a team, one of them can't be the MVP. That's my take. I know many people don't agree with it.
I agree, but that's how a lot of people think, right?
It's how the voting goes,
Yeah, so and that's been my fight with Ilie the whole year. It's like, LAFC has the better roster. Yeah, but this is not the best player award. This is the most valuable player. And we're going to see it on Friday night. Ilie is suspended against Austin. So we're going to see how LAFC is going to suffer without having him playing the 6th position. And it's just me. When you have the roster that LAFC has, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is also Steve Cherundolo saying it. You have this probably the most deep and talented roster on MLS history.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm saying something crazy there. But the only one that is truly replaceable is Ilie Sanchez. The only one that you can take out of the roster and the team suffers is Ilie Sanchez. So Kellyn Acosta can play the 6th role. Mendes can play it, but it's not the same.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the same. And when you move now on Friday, Kelly is going to play the 6.
Okay.
So now 2 positions are getting weak, right?
Yeah.
Not having Ilie, and then you just made weaker the one of the 8 spots because you took out Kelly from there. So that's the definition of valuable.
Yes.
But yeah, you cannot go against the narrative and against the storyline of the Golden Boot race of Austin, blah blah blah. So,
exactly.
So yeah.
No, I mean, look, I agree with you. I think right now, if I truly had a vote, it would be Reynoso. I think, again, you want to talk about value to a team, value to where this team would be without him. Minnesota would not be fighting for their rise right now without Emmanuel Reynoso in that midfield. I spoke with Sam Gleadle a few weeks back. Right now, he's a wing back in the USL Championship. He was on the 2020 Minnesota squad when they had their hot playoff run, and he was like, Reynoso did things in training that I've never seen any other player even attempt to do any of that. So it's insane.
I can tell you that the 2 players that impressed me the most live, in the All-Star game was Nagby and Reynoso. Already seen Nagby live, and if you haven't seen Darlington Nagby play live,
I haven't. I've heard it's magic.
It's unbelievable. Like I've never seen a player that he doesn't get dispossessed. Like you could surround him with the other team can put the 11 guys on him, and you will not take the ball out of his feet.
Yeah,
it's until you see it live, it's just unbelievable, and it sucks because he will still be a important part for the USMNT, and I know it for a fact because that's something that people in the coaching staff has told me straight up to my face, and I firmly believe that he has the talent. Not already that the years are against him, his age, and he doesn't want to move from MLS. Obviously,
yeah.
He could be a starter on any big European team in the world. It's impressive. And the other one was Reynoso. I've never seen Reynoso play live until I see him on the All-Star, and the way he moves, the way he hides the ball. It's truly unbelievable because unlike Driussi and Mukhtar, Reynoso is a beast 1v1. Like he will dribble everyone on the field. Driussi and Mukhtar are not like that.
Yeah.
They can create chances, but they're not like lethal on the 1v1.
Yeah.
Reynoso is on another level. It's on another league by itself. I put, like, if you ask me who's the best player on MLS, it's Reynoso, Carles Gil, and Carlos Vela all day, every day as best players.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Yeah, probably.
And like, man, when Vela is engaged and healthy, dude,
you can't touch him.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
it's just unbelievable.
Well, the one thing that I was bringing up about my MVP race right now, my question got answered on Extra Time. I had Charlie Davies laughing at my question on Extra Time. I was like, "Come on, Chuck!" Like no. But I said I think Kai Wagner deserves a shout for someone talking about him for
I have him
MVP. And I think he deserves it. At the point that I asked the question, he was top 3 in assists. I think he was like top 2 or top 3 in key passes. Like, Philadelphia Union have the best back line in Major League Soccer, best defense in Major League Soccer. He is a key part to that. I think he's the best left back, and he also facilitates so much for them. I was like, I think he deserves a shout. I don't think he should win it, but I mean, that was my take. I don't know if you have any Kai Wagner thoughts.
No, I agree. He's gonna be the left back on the MLS 11.
Yeah,
hands down. I think Palacios, it's right there with him. Cheeky, but I think it's Wagner. Like, he's, like you said, he's like top 5 on assist.
It's stupid.
Top 5 on key passes.
Yeah.
And Philly's a juggernaut on defense, and he's 100%. Part of that defense. So I have him, I think, on my outside looking in. I don't remember. And this is the issue that I have with the narrative and the people that sometimes vote on these awards. And I don't want to drag anyone because everybody has his own thoughts and feelings. But that narrative that, oh no, Elias Sanchez cannot win MVP because he's a defensive mid, that's just lazy for me. Lazy analysis, lazy appreciation of what a position means. Oh no, a left back cannot win MVP. So, dude, Fabio Cannavaro won a golden ball, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, so MLS is above that, right?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
So if we're talking that, like, as far as I remember, Joao Paulo, who is a defensive midfielder, was an MVP finalist last year.
Yeah.
So where's the double discourse there, right?
Exactly.
So I do believe that sadly we're in the minority here, so we cannot fight that narrative like I've been fighting the whole year for example, Elias MVP.
Yeah.
But yeah, for sure, Kai Wagner should be in the conversation, and he's hands down the best left back on MLS.
All right. Well, Michele, I don't want to take up too much of your time. I want to thank you. We got to 3 topics, but we said so much in between. I absolutely love it. So that's how you get an efficient podcast then. In and out. But I love it, Michele. Thank you so much. I guess let the people know where your next broadcasts are, where they're going to see you on TV.
Oh, thank you for having me again. It's always a pleasure and honor. Saturday. Well, I don't know when this is coming out.
True. So next week, next week it's gonna come out.
Next week, okay. So, I'm looking at. Let me look at my phone. I have it. I don't know it by memory because
you're in Minnesota. You're going to Blackheart. You know you're gonna have a great time there.
And Talisman too.
And Talisman, of course.
I'm going. Just give me a second, right?
Dallas, Minnesota, Dallas.
Minnesota, Dallas. Okay, so we're recording this, and it's August 24th. So it doesn't count. And this Saturday, I'm in Minnesota also, but it's against DC. But next week, okay, yes. So my next broadcasting, when this thing is airing, it's in Minnesota, September 3rd.
Yes.
Against who?
Dallas.
Against Dallas. And then I fly after the game to LA, and Sunday, the 4th, we have Galaxy against Sporting KC. Those are my next 2 broadcasts on TUDN and Univison. And watch the Spanish feed. That's where I'm at. On the field, don't watch the TUDN in English. I'm sorry. We're best in Spanish. I know it's my same company, but the Spanish version is better because I'm there. So, yeah.
Honestly, I do agree with you wholeheartedly. One, because I'm Duolingoing Spanish. Mainly, I want to not be like a white guy my entire life, and I like to learn a little bit of culture about something else. That's one. And then 2, there's a lot of Spanish speaking people, Spanish writing, Spanish commentary in American soccer. I want to be able to read it, listen to it, understand it. Mainly,
you can watch a game in Spanish. It doesn't make a lot of difference.
No, I'm not saying that.
Especially, I'm not saying you. I'm not saying you. I'm saying people that, just in Spanish is more exciting.
100%. 100%.
So yeah, watch it in Spanish.
All right. Well, Michele, thank you so much, man. Enjoy, and good luck to all your traveling too.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man. Always a pleasure.